I've been there before.
I did too.
Driving me nuts last couple.
If anybody wants to step
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the November 1st City Council meeting for the City of Cannon Falls to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Ringgold.
Here.
Duncan. Here. Gesme.
Here.
Cronenberger.
Here.
Lundell. Here. Montgomery. Here. Altough.
Here. Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, agenda. Council have any additions or corrections?
I move approval of the agenda.
Motion by Bringwell, second by Gesme to approve the agenda.
It was the amended agenda.
Amended agenda, thank you.
Amended agenda. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Public input. Public input will open public input. It's intended to afford the public an opportunity to address concerns of the city council. The public input will be no longer than 30 minutes in total length, and each speaker will have no more than 3 minutes to speak. Speakers may address topics relevant to the government of the city. Speakers must sign up in advance and must provide their name, address, and the topic they intend to address. Comments made must be on topic, respectful, pertinent to city business, and adhere to the applicable data privacy rules. Any speaker that violates these rules will be asked to sit down, and if the speaker refuses to comply, they may be removed from the meeting. Speaker shall not address topics that are subject of a public hearing. All such comments must be made at the public hearing. The City Council will not generally act on issues raised by the public input, but may choose to schedule consideration of them at a future agenda. Okay, Greg Kurtz.
Greg Kurtz, 518 First Street Southwest. I'm here with the Cannon Valley Fair, and I would like to ask something. I've been working on this for about a month with Diane in regards to, we'd like to put up a sign at the front gate of the fairgrounds. It's an LED sign. It's 73 inches long by 20 inches high. And Diane's given me a bunch of the rules and regulations. It appears that the fairground sits in the residential, whatever they call it, H, whatever, something. So as she went through with me and told me all the hoops that we would have to jump through to put this sign up, it got tougher and tougher. One of the things that she brought up was, being it's in a residential, you can't have an LED sign that moves because it may keep you up at night when you're sleeping. But as you all know, if you stand at the front gate, there's two houses you can see, and the one house is 300 plus feet away from where the sign would be, and he's on the fair board anyway. Another thing that they were talking about was it had to be mounted in a monument, a brick monument type deal, which we wanted to put it on the roof of the ticket office. The sign weighs 48 pounds, so it's nothing heavy. It's a plug and play sign that you get the sign, you put it up, you plug it into the electricity. It has a keyboard that you can program whatever you want into it. And our use that we wanted to use it for was to let everybody know what's going on at the fair. I mean, even right now, winter storage. Last year we had the Lions Club Father's Day breakfast. We would like to be able to advertise that. During the fair, we would like to be able to tell everybody what's going on today. What time is it going on? What the price to get into the fair is. You know, stuff of that nature. Even to the fact of maybe putting on there Merry Christmas from the Cannon Valley Fair. You know, stuff like that. This sign, we would be able to, at 10 o'clock at night, it would go off. Come back on at 6 in the morning. So there wouldn't be that keeping people up deal. We can turn the brightness of the LED down, so it wouldn't be bright. And as much as I'm down there, there's so much traffic that goes on that road that I think it would be a great benefit to us just so the fairgrounds could attract more people. Maybe rent the fairgrounds out. But like I say, the amount of hoops that are in the city's paperwork here, it just seems impossible. So I'm wondering, is there something, a temporary type thing that can be assigned to that? Like I say, you all know where it's at, and there's virtually nobody down there is going to bother besides a plus to us. I haven't ordered the sign, and that's the reason I didn't after talking to Diane, and the reason I asked her was do I need a permit to put this sign up? One other thing that she mentioned, and I notice it all over town where it's kind of, she said if we put this sign up, we would have to take down the existing sign that's up there, that wooden sign that says Cannon Valley Fair, because you can only have one sign up. So she said you'd have to take that down. Well, that's no problem. We're getting a lighted up sign here that's going to tell people a lot more. So I don't know who else I need to bring this to, what committee, just to find out more what you guys think. To me, it seems like, again, where it's at, it's common sense. It's not going to bother anybody whatsoever. So in regards to the city codes, it's in the residential whatnot. I'm just wondering if there's some way as a temporary or whatever word I'm looking for to be able to put a sign down there.
Do we need to bring it to a committee, like Public
Planning and
Works,
Planning Commission?
planning or something?
No, I'd say public works.
Public Works, I would think.
Public Works, is
No,
that
it's-
us?
no,
No.
It's a zoning thing.
Yeah, it's a zoning thing.
It's a zoning, it's gotta go to planning.
Planning.
Digital signs aren't allowed in a R2 district or I think it's an R3. They're not allowed in there, otherwise, you know, if you just go ahead and allow it, your neighbor could put one up,
We'll have signs everywhere.
and there'll be signs everywhere. So it's got to go through a process, and if you circumvent that process, Mary Jill will put one up.
Absolutely, tomorrow.
Well,
So- So there's a process for a reason.
Right.
It's not
No, it makes sense.
because we're not wanting it. There's a process for a reason. It's in a residential district, and if you know how bright them things are, yeah, you can tell that he said could turn it down. Yeah, but then after you give him the permit, doesn't have to, right?
And there'll
Oh,
be
but I would.
100 signs
So-
like that. at
Right,
that.
but
It's
that
got
could
to
be-
go through a process.
Right.
That could go through a variance type situation where you
Gotta
cover
go through the
all those
process.
Got
items.
it.
And planning commission is where that should go.
Seems
Planning.
strange, but it's the way it is.
Well, can we get it on the planning commission for,
You'll have to pull an application, come in and pull the application, and
Okay.
just like anything else.
Okay.
Oh, there you go, Greg.
Okay,
Pull the application, then we can get it on this month. It would be a week from
yeah.
Monday, whichever day that is.
Okay.
Correct, that would be the
Except the
14th.
14th.
I don't
Right.
know if,
I understand it's in the ordinance and everything like that, but I think you probably all understand it's a very simple deal, where it's gonna be at,
Right.
who is it gonna bother?
Right. That doesn't change the fact that it's
I
got to
know.
go through a process, Greg.
That's the hoop I can't jump through.
Oh, you're
I
not
can't
gonna-
jump high enough.
You're not gonna
I mean,
file
everybody.
an application?
With their digital.
Well, sure we will,
Oh, okay.
but I don't, I mean, the fair has so much money to spend.
Well, but
Do,
that isn't our issue.
huh?
That isn't our issue.
Well, it is if it turns into a $700 price tag to call a special meeting, and I don't know how the city works that way.
Okay. All right. Well, I think
That's what I'm,
Neil made it pretty clear that your first step here is to get an application, fill it out.
okay,
And try to get down there for a week from Monday.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, we'll close the public input, and we'll get into the public hearing. Resolution 2651, certifying unpaid utility charges to be collected with taxes. Neil, you want just a short background on that?
Sure. Quarterly, we notify property owners that their water and sewer bills are past due, and that we give an opportunity to come in and pay it. And if they don't pay their past due water bill, we bring them to council to certify to taxes. This public hearing is for the people that would like to speak to you about their unpaid water bill. Otherwise, resolution 2651 will be certifying the unpaid bills to taxes. We do this every quarter.
Yeah, we do this every quarter. We talked about, when I came on the council like 7 years ago, we had a big discussion on this. There were residents of this town that wanted the water shut off for people who didn't pay their bill. And I think this is a good compromise. We get paid and it comes out of your taxes and we don't shut off your water. So that's kind of what we decided, and that's what's been the norm ever since. So
So it gets paid when the property's sold, if and when.
It's put on their taxes.
Yes, but then it's, yeah,
And this quarter, it's 14,000 and some change, correct?
yep. Right.
Oh, that's gotta be
14,607.60. Okay,
okay, let's open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wants to address this issue? You can come forward. Second call, public hearing on unpaid utility charges. Third and final call, unpaid utility charges. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I take a motion to approve Resolution 2651.
So moved.
Second,
Motion by Montgomery, a second by Duncan to approve Resolution 2651, certifying unpaid utility charges be collected with taxes. Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, consent agenda. Consent agenda items may be adopted under one motion as presented, or may be removed for discussion and resolution as council business. For you at home and in the audience, I'll go through the consent agenda. Item A, just and correct claims for the accounting period ending October 27th, 2022. Item B, the minute meetings for the October 18th, 2022 City Council meeting. Item C, approve a pay request number 2 for the River Road Sanitary Sewer Extension. Item D, Resolution 2652, approving a cooperative snow removal agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. Item E, approve the 2023 agreement for the State Building Code Administration with Goodhue County. Item F, approve an officer move to part-time and start the process of filling for a full-time position. Item G, set a work session. And H, approve a personnel policy change. Is there anything the council would like to bring down?
I want to bring down H.
H will go under council business as item C. Okay, anything else? Hearing none, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item H.
Second.
A motion by Montgomery and a second by Bringold to approve the consent agenda minus item H, which is approval of the personnel policy change. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, council business. Item A, Resolution 2653, receiving a preliminary report and calling a public hearing on the 2023 street and utility improvements. Bill, our city engineer is here tonight.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll get fired up here. All right, so in your packet you have a report, and we're going to only hit the high points. We are not going to go through all of it. So we're going to start off with just a little bit about why by the way, I'm sorry, this is the proposed project for 2023. So we're going to talk about why we're proposing this and what exactly we're looking at. And because this is an assessment project, there's some very detailed steps we have to follow through. We did our practice run on Bluff Drive, practicing that it was smaller than this area and simpler. So you guys have just been through an assessment process, it will be very similar. So to start off with, the first thing I'm going to ask is, does everybody know what a sewer bridge is or know where the sewer bridge is? Steve only. Okay, so this is a sewer bridge. So just down to the east of the 3rd Street Bridge, there's a bridge that inside of this basically steel girder is a sewer pipe. All the sewage from the north side of the river flows through this pipe through this bridge.
It's been there forever.
It's been there forever.
Kids used to hang from it.
Yep. to the point where no one's really sure when it was built. Minimum of 50 years ago, probably more than that. And why is the public works staff, why are we concerned about this? Well, during flood events, trees hang up on it, debris hangs up on it, and at some point, something could come down the river and basically knock the bridge down. So the discussions, long before I was here, there's been discussions of how do we replace this, and there's not an easy answer. The easy answer is, or the reason why there's the sewer bridge is the sewer piping on the north side of the river is only about 5 foot deep. So the sewer coming in is actually above the water level of the river. So to cross the river, you generally you go way below the river, like we did with the water main at the bridge, or you would go over it, or you would pump underneath it. So that's how we started this off, is how can we cross the river? So that was our first task. How would we look at this? The second task we had, and we'll come to the solutions in a little bit. The second task we had was regarding drainage. And my internet connection is, sorry.
think I got disconnected when I. We'll let this refresh. But while this is refreshing, do you guys know where Ohio Street is? Just a little short street. Well, Ohio Street has a low point that doesn't drain very well, and I was going to show you where that was, but it's right about here on my map that's not reloading. So we have drainage in Ohio that actually flows north to the east and back to the south and ends up right down here. Okay, but while it's doing that, it goes on the county road, it goes into a couple different ponds that flood. And the question was, where should this drainage, is there a different way to route the drainage? So there is a direct path where we can take the drainage down 4th Street, down Ohio, down 4th, down to the same location as the sewer bridge, okay? The third item we have is that we have old water and sewer pipes in Cannon in 3rd, all the way 4th, all the way up to the county road. So we have these old pipes, and we have streets that are old. Now that the bridge has been repaired, traffic's back on there, the public works staff, this has been a priority let's try to fix these items. In addition, then the roads are old and narrow. So we have a combination of all these items that what we are proposing is to package this into one project to address, okay? That all makes sense. So then the report then addresses the findings of that. Okay, that's what we're going to run through. So again, in order to do an assessment project, what you have to do is you have to spell out the problem, you have to spell out the solution, spell out the costs, have some public hearings, etc. So the first thing that this does, in the highlighted areas, it spells out what we're going to do. One of the first things that we did is we looked at the whole scope, all the way up to Ohio, the sewer bridge, rebuilding these streets, and we had a target budget amount. And we were about $1 million over. So we're going to propose tonight is actually splitting in two what we'd originally proposed. So what we're proposing tonight is that, sorry, a little slow. We will just do the affected properties here. So we'll rebuild Cannon Street, sewer and water, storm sewer. We'll rebuild 3rd Street, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, water. And then on 4th Street here, we will replace sanitary sewer and water, and we'll put storm sewer for that future phase. That storm sewer would run through here and then eventually past Dakota up to Ohio to drain that lower area. So we'd be planning for the future. Okay? Then along with this, there's some peripheral things we need to do. For example, if you notice, these are what my Christmas tree color coding, what that refers to is the assessments. So if there's a red color on your lot, that means you'd be assessed for street. Blue stands for water, and green is the universal engineering color for sewer. Okay? But you'll notice in this area right here, oh, where's the road come through here? Well, there's actually no road right of way through there. So some of the things we're going to clean up when we do this is the city would need to acquire some right of way. There's also no stormwater ponding in this area, so by redoing the roads, by state law, statute, we have to provide some ponding for stormwater treatment, so there's some other things we're going to do. So when you wrap all that together, we have a project there. We would replace the sewer bridge with a lift station, meaning we would put pumps on the north side in this area, and we would pump under the river, okay? So we would directional drill a pipe under the river like we did the water main here, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. We do the same thing. Then we would replace all the sewer and water, again, in the roads and rebuild the roads to modern standards. Most of these streets are real narrow. They don't drain real well. They're in poor shape, poor condition. Okay, so that's our scope of what we're going to do. Okay, so now then the question is, okay, well, what are the costs? What are the other items with that? So what I wanted to do is we'll just highlight some of the things out of the report. Okay, So the first item I mentioned, this is kind of what we're doing here in the yellow. Skip by that. We'll skip by the rest of the text here. Okay, I mentioned that lift station force main. The one thing I wanted to add there was anytime you drill a pipe under the river, there is some risk involved. If you remember when we did the water main, it's not a guarantee that you'll make it under there, though the gas utility has done 2 borings under the river and we've done 1. The reason is whenever you drill through rock, there's always the chance you could get stuck. It's a low chance, but it's still a chance. So if you get stuck, what do? Well, you try it again till eventually you make it or you give up. But we're pretty confident, but I'm not 100%, but we're reasonably confident we'll be able to drill a pipe underneath the river.
We've been lucky so far. We've done the gas line, the water main, and now the sewer, but the other 2 went okay.
Yep, they went okay, correct. So our confidence is we're feeling pretty, it's a pretty good choice. Okay. Next thing I wanted to mention is we will need to buy land. So where we put the lift station, the city doesn't own that property. So there would be land that would need it. Also, that would be an area where we would put a stormwater pond to provide treatment for the new impervious area. So basically, the streets are going to be wider, so we have to treat some stormwater. Now, all that area that we're talking about, and I'll show you on the map a little bit. That's all what's called floodway, meaning it's not buildable. So we're hoping that will make property acquisition easier. Okay. All right, so what's all this cost? So I mentioned when we first started out with the full scope going all the way to the county road to the north, we were about $3 million. This scope here is just over $2 million, about $2.1 million worth of work. So then what we need to do is decide, based on your ordinance, what's accessible. Okay? Now, one of the challenges we have in this area is we have a lot of irregular sized lots. We have some lots that front on 2 different streets. And actually, we're going to ask, Neil's going to put this on your workshop for November 15th. One of the things we're concerned about is because we have a lot of irregularities, the council's going to need to make some decisions or at least give us some input. Because the ultimate schedule is we will have a public hearing. So that first step then is we have to have a public hearing so the public can give us input. But we want to make sure we have a decent handle on what your guys' expectations are. I have highlighted there in the middle there, so how your ordinance reads is that the city council selects the percentage or how much of the project costs to assess. So as we are going through the assessments range from about just under $4,000 to $26,000. There's some big lots out here. And that's based on assessing what's historically the minimum amount you can assess. So state statute says if you're going to finance this project publicly through a bond sale, you have to assess at least 20% of a project. Otherwise, you have to hold a referendum on the project. So most cities default to that minimum amount. So what we're going to talk about on the 15th is, do we want to make some exceptions for some of these, what do you want to call them, Neil, oddball lots, where we have people that own 2 lots or they're really big or they're on a big corner, where we get into some discussions of, okay, what do we think is fair and what do we think can pass the benefit test? Meaning if we assess somebody $20,000, when we're done with the project, statute says their property should be worth $20,000 more. So again, we're going to walk you guys through some of that, but really tonight's to kind of go through this and then get some of these hearings and meetings set. Okay, so if we follow the ordinance and we apply that 20%, the dollar amount per front foot is $127 a foot at 20%. So if you have 100 foot wide, front foot, you'd be assessed $12,700. Okay, and then the city council picks the terms, how long it goes on your property taxes, etc. So we are very cognizant of that cost, and we're very cognizant of how big that dollar can be for some properties. So we want to make sure we take some time and at a workshop and kind of walk through that to really make sure everybody really understands it real well. Okay, next thing I wanted to talk about in the report is the schedule. So tonight, again, following state statute, you have an engineer's feasibility report, and we'll take some questions if there is, but again, it's a lot of data and background into why we're doing this. And then tonight, you have a resolution in your packet where you're ordering the improvement hearing, okay? And we're scheduling that to occur at your first regular meeting in December. That's December 6th. So if you recall, what do you do at a hearing? What you do is you let people, they would come up and they give you testimony. I call that the thumbs up or thumbs down meeting. So this is where you decide if you're going to move forward or not. And that does take a super majority of the council to move forward on the project. At that point then, you design the project, you go out, you get bids, and after you get bids, you come back, and so we would come back in April, and then we set a final assessment hearing. So that's the point where then people know their final amounts, because up until that point, it's all estimates. And then someone can appeal their assessment to you. If you remember, you're the appeal board, but they have to present evidence. So if that 100-foot hypothetical lot, they would say, I do not believe my property is worth $12,000 more, and here's why. They present testimony to you. Okay, so this is, again, that schedule. But tonight we're just taking that first step of we are setting that hearing date. It's the first thing I've highlighted in there, also a public information meeting on maybe some of these more, complex projects where we got a lot of things going on. We would hold a meeting outside of a council meeting. We'd bring in some big maps and we'd sit down with people and explain the project. Because we have a lot of people saying, well, my water service is over here, I have this, going on, a little different. So that gives us a little, the technical staff, we have more time to walk through the details. So we would do that on November 30th. We like to do that before that first hearing, just so we get all my water service or my sewer or my drainage, those things, some of those things answered before that hearing, because that can be a lot to sort through at a public hearing. And I think that was all I wanted to go through, other than I'll leave this map up here and we can kind of take a look at, again, we have really big properties. We have narrow properties, big ones, so we just have a lot of different scenarios that don't quite all fit into the ordinance. So I'll pause and any questions or comments?
Bill, you said you're going to cut off the portion of the Ohio Street improvement. There's, I know at least one resident there that's been fighting with that stormwater issue for a long time. What's your proposed timeline for doing that part of making that another project? 2 years? Okay.
Take it up to, 17?
Oh, yeah, up to County Road, correct. Yep.
You think that's reasonable?
Well, I thought you were putting that, okay, am I getting confused here? The 4th Street storm sewer was part of that next phase, I thought. But now you're saying that's going to 17?
Well, there we kind of see where we're at here. Sorry, I got to turn these back on here.
Guess I don't have that on mine.
So the next phase would go, here's that low area in Ohio, if you can see that right there.
Yep.
That storm sewer would come down, all the way down, and then over.
Right.
But the sanitary sewer, we would continue all the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the sanitary sewer is also in poor condition.
So that wasn't just the stormwater thing, that was going to be.
Stormwater and sanitary sewer,
All right.
correct. Yep.
Right.
The first phase is going to put in a big enough pipe so it can drain all of that.
Right.
Right. And then we'll just stop it at Dakota and then pick it up in 2 years and carry it north. And then whatever It'll probably be another $2 million project, so if that gets taken care of, we can either jump up to, I think it's Barclay or Village, or go across to, I think it was 6th and 7th, across the
Oh, yep,
highway,
Over here.
depending on what, when Bill gets done doing the estimates and what we can fit in. It all needs to get done. It's just a matter of
the timelines.
couple million at a time is what we're looking at.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions?
Any questions? It'll be nice to get that line under the river instead of, because every year when there's flooding and you watch all the trees and other stuff that go up there, you're surprised that it doesn't break some years.
And that canoer's gonna hang on it.
So, Bill, that was Ellingson that did that last one, right?
Correct.
Did they, I don't remember, did it go pretty good?
Yeah, yep, went reasonably
I don't
well.
remember.
By the way, we're not going to jinx ourselves, but yes, went reasonably well.
Yeah, okay.
So,
That makes me feel better.
okay. All right, thank you, Mayor.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, without any other questions, maybe I take a motion for a resolution receiving a preliminary report and calling a public hearing on the 2023 street and utility improvements.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2653.
Second.
Motion by Duncan and a second by Gizme to approve resolution 2653. Any other discussion? All in favor?
50. No, wait a minute.
2653.
Yep, you're right, sorry.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Bill. Okay. Let's see. Item B is the eliminate agreement with R&R Investments for the purposes of electrical use. Neil, you want to take that?
I'll give you an explanation since this is new on the agenda. I'll back up to the construction of Highway 19 and MnDOT and the replacement of all the streetlights and poles, et cetera, et cetera. As you know, we've always had electrical plug-ins on the poles and we're able to use them to light up the lights. MnDOT has now said to us that they won't put electrical plug-ins on their poles anymore, so we're kind of out. With that said, Jeff Reinhardt owns that building on the southeast corner of that intersection, and that's where the cable comes across to the northwest corner. And there happens to be a plug-in that we could plug in the lights on the outside of the building already. So I had Shelley just whip up a quick access and use agreement. I shot it over to Jeff. Jeff said it looks just fine, and it gives us 5 years and adds another 5. It just gives us the right and it indemnifies us if something goes wrong liability-wise, and then we're set to go. Pretty simple.
So we want a motion to approve electrical access and use agreement with.
Can I get a motion to approve the agreement subject to final review by our city attorney? Because it really got pushed through, and Jeff, he did review it today, but he might have some questions. But just for a final review.
Okay, then I entertain a motion to approve electrical and access and use agreement with R&R Enterprises, subject to a review by our city attorney.
So moved.
Motion by Bringle and second by Montgomery to approve that agreement. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, item C, it's pulled down by Steve, approving what was that, a personnel policy change.
Okay, this is alluding to, actually next week, correct? Because, there's a holiday at the end of the week. And, what you were requesting is to change the personnel policy, for this. Is there any way we can just change it for this? Because it's not a thing that happens regular, right? Do you really want to change the personnel policy just?
Well, to be honest with you, then it would align with all of the union contracts that we have also. And to me, to be fair with the non-union groups, I think I've always liked to see everybody the same. Yeah, it's next week. This happened to land on Veterans Day is on Friday. The majority of our group puts in overtime on Tuesday, and the way it states now is if you put in your 40, then you get your overtime. All of our contracts that we have is anything over 8, and you get overtime. And so they're never will have this issue. To me, it seems prudent to keep our non-union employees on the same page as our union employees. Well, to be quite frank, if you don't and they become unhappy, guess what happens?
Well,
Another union.
I just wanted to clarify that we're not changing the whole policy just because something that's popping up next week. It's something that's probably been due for quite some time, and
It won't affect vacation or sick. That doesn't matter on the contract, union contracts, it's over 8.
Okay.
For the non-union group, we didn't put that in simply because that's at their doings. If you take a day of vacation, if you get sick, then you have to do your, but this is just for scheduled holidays.
Okay, so it makes everything look the same.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've certainly tried over the years to match union contracts for our non-union employees as much
Well, you
as
do the
humanly
wages,
possible.
right?
Right.
It's nice to keep things fairly equal with the non-union groups as with the union groups.
well, then I'm going to make a motion to approve that personnel policy change.
I'll second. Okay.
Mike gives me a second by Bringle.
Okay, it's fine.
Approve the personnel policy change. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll get into reports. Chamber, Kyle.
Good evening, council and community. I would like to report on our Halloween trick-or-treat trot. It was a success, a very big success. On average, there was 826 children.
Wow.
Some people had less, some had way more. The library tracked how many people came through. So that included the parents as well as the children, and they came up with 1,607 people in those 2 hours.
Wow,
That's a lot of traffic
that's peeps.
coming through downtown Cannon Falls. And I really want to thank, we had 49 chamber members that participated, and I want to thank all of the families. We had people from Cannon Falls, Northfield, Farmington, a lot of places. And so it has gotten to be a big event. So thank you all for helping with that. Hopefully our volunteers helped with Jeff and Joe. So we can help with that. Deck the Falls, and Deck the Falls, we do have our parade entry form ready to go out. Our deadline to sign up a parade entry is November 18th. So please contact the chamber and by calling or by email, and I will send out one of these forms. It does not cost anything to have a parade unit. The only thing we ask is that you do not have a Santa, because our Santa is the last float. And so we don't want to confuse the children. But we've had a lot of requests already, so this will be a fun year, absolutely. And new businesses in town that are opening up Wednesday the 9th. Cannon Nutrition, which is the nutritional shakes. They are located right between Chicago Eds and...
Spring Garden.
Yes, thank you very much. And then also Dairy King, which was the old Dairy Queen. They did have a soft opening this week. The reviews are very good. The food is very good. But they are having their grand opening on November 9th. And so over on the west side of 52, I hope you all give them a try. Any questions? All right. That makes it quick and easy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Laura, the Can Valley Trail Board meet in October?
I actually didn't attend this week for that meeting, but I'm in reviewing the meeting minutes, or was it anything too exciting?
No, it wasn't very exciting.
Redoing 4 bridges this winter, so they have some closes, some areas closed, obviously. Want people to stay out of there.
They've
for
closed the
safety.
trail now. I thought I read that in the paper somewhere.
November 1st to May,
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't think it's the whole trail.
it isn't the whole trail, no, but they have to have parts of it closed for the bridges.
Okay.
Their Facebook page has maps.
Okay. Okay. Reports, let's go around. Dan?
Just one thing, Biosolid started hauling today, so just be aware of the extra tanker traffic to and from the wastewater plant. So,
Okay. Bill, anything to add? Okay. Jeff?
Well, being that we're already to November 1st, winter parking starts today. So if you are one of our people who park in the permitted area on Mill Street or in the city lot, please make sure to stop into the police department and fill out the parking permit application so that if you're in the wrong spot or something, we have a number to reach you at rather than issue a citation or end up having to tow your vehicle not knowing that you're one of our permitted people. And hopefully we won't have to utilize winter parking restrictions anytime soon.
There you go. Neil?
Just one item, we scheduled our annual audit review coming up here in about a month, so it's the end of the year already. Here we go. That's it.
Laura?
Good.
Matt?
Nothing.
Bill?
Nope.
Derek?
Nope.
Mary Jill?
Nothing except that there is no Public Works meeting this Thursday. You forgot to say it.
I thought John would say it.
Oh, I'm
Never
sorry.
got to me, but.
We'll take it back.
It's been
I'll take
said
it back.
now. Steve?
Well, nobody else wants to say anything, so I might as well.
Go ahead.
We need to invite the management of Valley View Recovery Center to a discussion concerning violation of the conditional use permit, and also to address concerns of area residents that there's a lack of supervision allowing inpatient clients to possibly leave the property without input from the staff on boundaries. We as a city were promised that they would be a good neighbor, and communication would be one of the top priorities. I suggest to the council as a whole that we set a date and time to meet with Valley View Recovery and talk about their and our responsibilities to the area residents. In addition to that, I would request that the city attorney and quite possibly the chief of police or one of his representatives attend that meeting also, so we can all, if there's any questions, should be able to be answered at that time. So that would be my request, and as a city council person, when people come and voice their concerns, I try to communicate it with the city staff, which I have, and now I want to acknowledge to the public that I think there's a couple little issues there, and I think we should address them the same way we call sustain on the carpet when there's concerns from city residents or area residents, city residents. There, we try to discuss it. So I don't know how to move forward, if we should just send them a letter and invite them to some type of a roundtable discussion or something, or I guess I'm not sure. I mean, we'll check with Shelley, our city attorney, and see if when she would be available, and Jeff, if one of you or Lieutenant Berg or somebody can sit in with us also, that would be just great. We like to be safe and have good neighbors. So
Agreed. Yes.
I don't know what the city's jurisdiction is out there.
well,
Is it a state thing?
they haven't complied with our conditional use permit, so
Yeah.
we can. I mean, I have a
They haven't cooperated, they haven't got their
revocation right in front of me that we
commercial
could
restaurant.
employ. So,
Yeah,
but I think let's just be just invite them in to talk. We don't have to do any fist pounding anymore.
No. We owe it to them and we owe it to
Go
us.
them, and
We owe it to us.
some of the promises maybe haven't been kept. And
That's very possible.
so
Let's do it.
we snap a letter off to them and see when their date's available and when our dates are available.
We set a 5 o'clock work session on the 15th. I don't know how long this conversation will take. We got 3 items on that agenda, the budget, which the question's going to be, are you okay with it? The assessments that Bill just got done with, that might take some conversation. So I wouldn't say we should do it on the 15th, but maybe the first meeting in December, we could set it at, 5:30. Would an hour be enough?
Yeah.
Sure, that sounds fair.
Whatever the first meeting is, the 6th of December. Is there any conflicts with anybody that, if I can get the meeting scheduled at that time, say 5:30 on the 6th of December?
Yeah, we're gonna be here. So.
let's try it.
I can invite them, should we set it as a work session and so we can just have that discussion?
Well, hopefully they can get
That's
back
fi-
to us before the 15th so we can set it on our next agenda. Set it for the 6th.
And you'll contact our city attorney also.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
That sounds good.
well, nobody's even mentioned it, but got a big day coming up next Tuesday. It's Election Day, November 8th, so make sure you get out and vote. If you have to vote early, get in there and vote early,
Vote
so.
early, vote off.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, just a couple of meetings I want to go through before our next council meeting. Let's see, Monday the 14th, we got finance. We got EDA on Thursday the 3rd. Planning Commission on Monday, the 14th, Library Board on the 14th, and the Park Board this Thursday at November 3rd. Upcoming meetings before our next council meeting. Okay, if nobody's got anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Lundell, second by Montgomery. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.